I'm scared of stouts. I'm scared of dark beer. It's going to be strong and it's going to be awful tasting. Come on, please. And welcome to the beer garden in front of the fireless pit. It is a beautiful day. We are here to drink beer. And before we get into this too much, please tap that subscribe button if you're here because you like beer. And really, why else would you be here? It helps with the algorithm and it helps with my low self-esteem because approval from strangers on the internet makes me feel better about myself. Also, please tell me your town and state or town and country where you are viewing from. I love seeing where my viewers are from. Shout out to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, viewing a Beer Snob's Cheap Brew Review. Bensalem, Pennsylvania, Cheney, Washington, and let's go more international than Canada to Cork, Ireland, and that brings us to Murphy's Irish Stout, the pride of Cork, Ireland. Now, I will tell you in just a minute, you may be surprised, Murphy's is no longer brewed in Cork. It says on the can, since 1856, Murphy's imported stout draft style. Now, I get a little crazy when I see the word imported on an import beer because a lot of times imported doesn't mean it comes from the country you think it comes from. And also, when I see the word style on it, a lot of times you see lager style or draft style. In this case, it just is draft style because it has that widget in it. It's got the nitrogen widget, which gives it that draft style mouthfeel. It gives that very creamy style to it. Of course, we're going to be drinking out of the green label for 2024 Beer Snob's Cheap Brew Review pint glass, only to be complemented with the Richardson's Leather Patch trucker cap for the green label, of course, for 2024. Let's go ahead and give Murphy's a crack open. There we go, and welcome to the channel if you are new here, and welcome back if you are a subscriber and are a fan. Let's go ahead and give it a pour, shall we? 45-degree angle says Murphy's on it, and a relatively aggressive pour. Since it has that nitrogen widget in it, you almost can't over pour these beers with the nitrogen widget because it's so foamy and creamy, it will rarely overflow. $6.99 for a 4-pack. But really for an import for an Irish Stout, $6.99 a 4-pack, I don't consider a bad price, really, for the quality that you get in that. And this quality is not coming from Ireland, originally from Cork, Ireland, but now owned by Heineken. Murphy's is brewed in Edinburgh, Scotland. I like me a good Scottish beer. So, however, you know, a beer snob like me gets very particular when it comes to where the source of the brew is, where it is brewed, because at the very basic of every beer is water. And the water from different parts of the world makes the beer taste different. It really, really does. And it is noticeable. So I haven't had Murphy's in forever. I cannot remember the last time I had Murphy's. So this is almost gonna be like, you know, a little Lewis and Clark. I'm going into uncharted territory. At least I've been in the territory, but it's been a long time since I've been in that territory. Time for the nose, shall we? In Edinburgh, Scotland, I'll have to tell you a couple of, I've got a few stories from Scotland and a few stories from Ireland as well. Although I've never been down to Cork, but you know, they say that Cork is Ireland's second largest city next to Dublin, and Murphy's is the second most popular stout next to Guinness. So, but brewed in Edinburgh, Scotland. How about that? Time for the nose, like I said. Not really detecting a whole lot. I am getting a bit of a slight sweetness to it, a little bit of what they call a biscuit or bread type of a nose. But besides that little bit of a maltiness. And Murphy's prides themselves being brewed only with water, barley, malted barley, and hops, which really, that's what any beer should be brewed with. But so many, especially American beers, they throw that adjunct in there, corn, rice, fillers, and all this cereals and stuff, and I absolutely hate that. Now I am getting more grains are coming through. I'm getting definitely that barley. A lot of people compare Guinness and Murphy's. I'll compare it in just a second. But just by the nose, it noses different than Guinness. Guinness, I get more of a hoppy nose. Not detecting really any hops in this. I'm getting barley and a little bit of a sweetness. So okay. So as we are here in the beer garden on a beautiful day, the pollinating has begun. You never drink alone here in the beer garden, so grab yourself a beer and let's get ready to go. SLAINTE, as they say in Ireland. Whoops. I usually try to save a little bit, but I finished it all. Wow. A lot of people get intimidated by dark beers, and obviously stouts are a dark beer. Don't get intimidated by stouts. If you're one of those people who get all girly and I'm scared of stouts. I'm scared of dark beer. It's going to be strong and it's going to be awful tasting. Come on, please. You got to try a stout. Usually what I find with stouts, they're not necessarily higher in alcohol. As a matter of fact, Murphy's clocks in at 4%. That's a session beer. Guinness is around 4.2, 4.5. That's I consider that a non-alcohol beer, to be honest. Until you get to like imperial stouts, now those get higher in alcohol, around 7, 8, 9. But Murphy's, 4%. And as far as the darkness, well, I drank the whole thing. Can we get another one over here? As far as the darkness is concerned, that usually has to do with the roasted malt and the roast of the barley. They almost burn it, and they roast it very, very dark, like a dark coffee. And also some notes coming out on this is some coffee, a little bit of a toffee, maybe a little bit of a chocolate in there. So again, don't be intimidated by the darkness of a beer. It usually means more flavor. Guinness almost has a burnt taste to it. Murphy's no. More of a biscuity, more of a light taste to it. So if you're thinking about wading into the stout pool, I would suggest Murphy's if you're thinking about doing that. It's a nice introduction. It's almost like Guinness's little sister. Really. Look at the lacing. If you're new to beer drinking, lacing is the foam that sticks to the inside of the glass. If you have lacing on a beer, that's a sign of good quality ingredients. A lot of people describe, I don't know if you can see that or not, describe Murphy's as being black. It's not. Very similar with Guinness. Guinness is not black either. It's a very, very dark red. And I'm not sure if you can quite see that. But it is a very, very dark red. I believe Cork is the sister city to Dublin, Ireland. Well, if that's the case, then Murphy's is the little sister in stouts next to Guinness. Guinness does taste a little more manly. It's a little more rough around the edges. Even with the nitro widget, it's still sort of smooth. But Murphy's, very, very bready, very biscuity. You get that slight, ever so slight amount of sweetness, and it's not overly sweet at all. And really, I'm really trying to wring it out by saying sweet, but it's not a hoppy beer at all. Guinness is more hoppy. And out of 5 stars, where am I going to put Murphy's Irish Stout? It doesn't even say Irish Stout anymore. It just says imported stout. Maybe that's because it's brewed in Scotland, I guess. I'll give you out of 5 stars how good a stout is Murphy's in just a minute. I mentioned being in Scotland. I've never been to Edinburgh, but I've been to Glasgow and the Isle of Arran, where we spent a week in a bed and breakfast. In the Isle of Arran, we flew from Iceland into Glasgow, Scotland, and took the train to a coastal town. I think it was it Ayr? Stranraer. I think we went to Stranraer to take the ferry over to the Isle of Arran. Now, Ireland has an Arran Island, but Scotland also has an Isle of Arran. 2 R's with one R with the other one. And really the Isle of Arran, if you look it up on a map, say this can is Scotland, it's about halfway down Scotland, obviously just off the coast, and they call Arran Scotland in miniature because the geography of the island is very similar. Wonderful town, beautiful, wonderful people on the Isle of Arran. And also in Scotland, where Murphy's is brewed, even though it's an Irish stout. I noticed the Scottish spit a lot in public. they publicly spit. I don't know why, but I remember sitting at a, we were sitting there waiting for the train, and there were two people across from us. They just went, and it landed about 3 inches from my foot. I don't know, maybe that's a welcome to Scotland greeting. I don't know. But anyway, great times in Ireland, great times in Scotland. If you ever get a chance, if you're viewing from Ireland or Scotland, or if you traveled there, comment down below. Please, love to hear your spitting stories. Fantastic. So out of 5 stars, what type of stout, what score do I give Murphy's imported? And again, I've been comparing this heavily to Guinness. It's the second best-selling stout next to Guinness in Ireland, and really it's not found that much in Ireland anymore. They export it. I think it's only about 2% of the stout drunk in Ireland is Murphy's. But it's such a smooth, easy-going taste, 4% alcohol all day, all night. I'm going to put you at a 4.44 out of 5 stars. So there you go. Hey, ring the bell. All right. And again, hey, before you tap that subscribe button, town and state, town and country where you are viewing from, love to hear from you. Check out my over 200 brew reviews at this point, and let me know what you think. I think you're going to find something you're going to like there. So hey, thanks for checking us out. It's a beautiful day here in the beer garden in front of the fireless pit. So grab yourself a brew and you drink that brew, and I will see you on the next brew review. SLAINTE.